We're back here again.
I'm Cree, and I'm tired.
Oh, we're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Daryl, and I'm black.
I'm Dakota, and I'm a Scorpio.
No, you're not. Stop. Like, each episode, you literally claim a different zodiac sign. Like, literally, each episode, you've been a different zodiac sign.
Oh my god.
It's like, you don't adopt zodiac signs, bro. Like, it's
You
just
can't
not how
do
it
that.
works.
It's not.
Where's the rulebook? Can you pull out the rulebook?
Okay, all right. We're gay.
Before we get into today's topics, you got to remind yourself that it is 8 days until the election. By the time you're viewing this, make sure you understand it's going to be less than 8 days. If you don't know, if you register, if you don't know your polling site, if you don't know what's on the ballot, you can do something real simple. Go to www.lickvote.org. Find out all the information that you need. There's no excuse. No excuse whatsoever.
We can do it if you put your back into it.
It's Q, baby. 99, baby. I'm on the grind, baby.
That was like a horrible segue. Like, that was just so...
You gotta, when you imitate an Ice Cube, you gotta commit. Like, you can't just, we can do it, put your back, like he did the...
I mean, I didn't want to get too aggressive on it.
That song, he rapped real aggressive.
Every song
But this is a
right.
family
Except for that one song. Today was a good day.
This is a family-friendly event, though. None of that Save the Last
What
Dance
is
Ice
Ice
Cube.
Cube's government name? Do we know?
Actually, I did, but I don't remember.
What is
Because
Ice
his son's an
Cube's
actor, and every
government
time I see
name?
his son's name, I'm just like, oh, yeah.
They look just
O'Shea
alike.
Jackson.
Yeah, O'Shea Jackson.
Yeah, O'Shea Jackson.
I wonder if he's related to
Outright.
Curtis Jackson.
50 Cent?
Yeah.
No.
That's another celebrity I talk about.
I
Well,
hope
he
didn't
retracted
do
his Trump
anything wrong.
endorsement.
He endorsed.
He did not endorse Trump. He just said, and I'm not defending him, but he just
Yeah.
said that, well, under Biden, I don't want to pay $62 million a year. And as a rich dude, I can understand that sentiment.
62%.
62% of which he should be. But also, for folks who don't know, the big thing behind that is that billionaires pay less in taxes than you do.
Period.
You know who did
Billionaires.
endorse Trump, though?
Who's that?
Waka Flocka.
You
Waka
guys,
Flocka
I
said
just
that
wanna
Trump was a
sing
better
all of
president
these
than Obama.
songs.
Okay.
What's the first topic?
All right, so O'Shea's is O'Shea canceled?
Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote before
right.
we discuss. I don't think O'Shea needs to be canceled.
Well, yeah, you guys, because I actually want to pull up this thing that he demanded politicians sign a contract with Black America before getting support with the Black vote, and he drafted this contract.
Yes.
Like he thought about this.
Yeah.
And he was calling out all politicians as rightfully as he should. But with the controversy comes in, I believe someone from the Trump campaign thanked him on Twitter for his contribution to their black political platform.
Because the Trump campaign immediately responded and said, yep, we'll work with you on this contract and adjust our plans. And the Biden campaign said, we'll talk to you after the election.
Oh, so then everybody, and then Tamika, the Mallory, I've never said her name out
Tamika
loud.
Mallory, I believe.
Mallory, she just put on Instagram, someone have Ice Cube call me.
Yeah.
So
like, I think that's one. I think it's a different level to this. I think overall, I think it shows like this the immediate impact social media just jumps to, right? Like the first thing that social media does is condemn a person without even understanding the full scope of a story.
always.
Like I think that's number one. Number two, people really don't understand the workings of how platforms are created in the first place, right? And I think three, I think it's just manipulation from the Trump campaign. Trump is searching for black voters, and the first time a black person says, I wanted to work with you, you automatically assumes that is endorsement.
Right.
Wanting to better your community, wanting to have the platform regardless of who's in office. It's not something that's endorsing a candidate. That's being strategic, that's being demanding, and that's being intentional. So that's why I say I don't think O'Shea needs to be canceled. And if he collected a check from Trump because he gave that advice, by all means, give that advice to collect that check if you're going to be here suffering.
The question I had when I saw this stuff was like, who has the OG clout to cancel Ice Cube?
That's a really
That's a
good
valid
fucking
question.
question.
That's
That's
a
a
valid
really good question.
Do you think Ice Cube's like really concerned about all these
Could
youngins?
Snoop cancel Ice Cube?
Absolutely not.
Nah,
Absolutely not.
Cube is. I think
He's the OOG.
OG, like it
No.
was
OG.
NWA
Right.
gaming with Snoop.
right.
Right.
Without Ice Cube, it wouldn't be.
Who's
Snoop.
gonna cancel
What
him?
about
Ice-T?
Yeah.
Ice-T.
I feel
Wait. Is it Ice-T or is it Detective? What you call it? Like for Law and Order. Like even then, like no, you can't. And like again, like in all seriousness, like this man said, like I want to demand something for the black community, and I don't care who wins, which you all as a community need to start having that mindset.
Yep.
Like we need to make sure our demands is on the table.
Like,
And like-
are we supposed to stop watching Friday?
No.
No, you can stop watching Friday.
Hell no, never.
Yeah.
I'm not stopping watching Friday.
You know we're anti-cancel culture over here.
And I think that to even expand on it even more, it's like if there was a problem, if there really was a problem, why aren't we having conversations? Why are we condemning? Why are we canceling? Why are we shutting people out?
Every time.
I don't think we really have the capacity to be doing that right now at all.
Message.
I mean, my question is to all these people trying to cancel people is like, have you tried to organize them first?
Period.
Have a conversation. Understand where they're coming from.
Everybody has to. We're only as strong as our weakest, whatever cliche quote. So you can't just be canceling people left and right. Like that's almost privilege.
So let's talk about the next person that's been canceled for
Did you snore in
various
my
reasons.
grass?
Wake up, Mr. West.
Wake up, Mr.
Wake up,
West.
Mr.
I
West.
heard him say, "Nothing's ever promised to my." That one's not as fun because that was Adam Levine singing.
I still stand on my previous statement about Kanye.
So Kanye, for folks who don't know, was on Joe Rogan podcast. And Joe Rogan asked some really valid questions.
He did. He asked
For a
really
person
valid
who's running
questions.
for
Yes.
president, who's trying to run the country. Very valid. And I just want you all to
Foreign
decide
relations.
what moment did Kanye really fuck up in his answer.
That's a great question, Daryl.
People in other countries that don't have a value of human life, and throughout history we've had immense problems because of that, because of military conflicts. How do you think you will approach that? I mean, you will be the commander-in-chief of the greatest army the world has ever known. If you're in that position and we have to deal with some sort of a military action with China, what if China takes over Taiwan? What if they invade Taiwan? What if something happens with Syria? What if something happens
No,
with
he never thought
Iran?
about foreign policy.
What if something happens with Russia? And you have to make decisions about military action. Have you thought about this?
So I want to pause it right there. Because that is an absolutely valid
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Valid as hell question.
Yes.
Like, you're going to be commander-in-chief of the largest military force in the world.
On the planet.
Like, how
Well,
are you?
not just on the planet anymore because we have Space Force.
And we have space.
Period. And he in charge of that too.
And you're in
Right.
charge of that too. How are you going to handle that? When Mars attacks, what's going to happen?
Yes, I would.
He fucked up already. Already.
Oh, y'all fucked up.
Y'all remember watching like a kid
I have
struggle
to
during a
say
math
again,
test? They
like
start rubbing their
COVID,
head. That's what he's doing.
I'm a
That's what-
civilian,
Look, listen.
and people can have all their perspectives that they could have of what they would do in that situation. But I would have the greatest professionals on the planet, the most skilled people
right.
that have all the experience that would present the information, and I would make the most sound, rational decisions, and I would follow God's will in my approach to
Oh, it's a really long pause there. Like God didn't
to
will you
dealing
into
with
the
these
answer?
other countries, to dealing with these other leaders. There's something about, our president's personality and the leader of North Korea's personality where there's a level of common respect, and that's the reason why they were able to talk, and we the fear had been taken off of us. Like, people who are
His next
God-fearing,
album will be called Presidential Dropout.
self-made servants of their
Where's the drum snare?
people, these other scary dictators, they feel like they're that for their country.
This
And if they
motherfucker should not have
see-
dropped out of college.
No.
No, he should. He shouldn't be running for president.
Yeah. Right.
I just.
Well, I mean, let's just talk. Like, what does it mean to run for president when you're only on the ballot
question.
and only on the ballot in a few states? Like, you're not even on enough states to win the Electoral College,
Yeah, why is he doing this?
right? Like, you're not on the ballot in Wisconsin. You miss
Right.
all these other places. Why do we keep saying he's running for president when mathematically he doesn't even have a chance to be the president because he can't even get enough electoral votes?
Just because you can't win doesn't mean you don't run the race.
True.
But he's not running. You hear this answer. He's hobbling at best. Like,
Have you ever had a dream that you do?
he's limping. He's limping through this.
Yeah,
ad.
like who's on the Kanye campaign even?
And I think that's the one. I think this shows the geniusness, but also the sadness of Kanye, right? Because like to start the answer, it was very it was a really
Yeah.
decent answer.
I don't
right?
know everything.
I don't know everything. I
Right.
have the best people around me, but then you realize you don't know anything, and then you start panicking and just start talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the question at hand.
I just like. Does he think that there'd be like no one gets 270, and then like the House of Representatives will vote him in?
I'm just like, for him to bring up Kim and Donald's relationship versus all of the actual brilliant leaders that Donald had a terrible relationship with
Right.
is very like Donald and Angela. They don't get along because he get on her nerves because he's stupid. So let's talk about that.
Even recognizing that's nothing. Even recognizing the allies we have as a country.
Right.
Like the
Right.
first thing you go to is the opposition, right? The big opposition, where there's really no opposition. You just Korea doesn't mess with America because of our cultural society, which is a different conversation.
Yep.
But like for relations, like that's the first thing that goes to your mind, right? Is the hostility.
Yep.
And if you ever worked in foreign relations, I understand the implications of foreign relations. Like it's not about the hostilities; it's about the partnerships, right? It's about the allyships, right? It's about the supporting each other. Like that's really what the second half of the answer should have been. But again, like that shows your inaptitude of like understanding what you're actually doing and why I can't trust you to run this country.
Yep.
For reference sake, I don't trust really any person run the country.
Yep.
But if I'm choosing and I only got to choose between you, Trump, or Biden,
Yep.
that choice ain't really that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think all this is just like, the failure of media to like really present that Kanye can't win. Like he mathematically can't win, but yet we keep giving him attention and we keep like flaming this fire that like he's a serious candidate.
Yeah.
If you're not on the ballot in all 50 states, like you're not a serious
Serious
candidate, right? That even goes for the Green Party too,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't win by not being on not being everything, right? Like, you can't win without field organizers, right? Like it's unfortunate, but it takes a lot of money to run for president.
Yeah. We're working on it.
But if you can't be on the ballot in every 50 states, you don't have a ground game in key swing states, you're not really running for president, right?
No.
Like you're not running to win, you're running to make a statement.
And you're running for a show.
Right.
Yeah.
You're running really to put on the
Exactly.
show.
It's a performance.
And I think that's the most impressive thing. But also I think that Cody brought up a good point of like the money reference, right? And what it takes to run.
Yeah.
And I think that money is also what's wrong. What's a problem with our political system right now is that it determines so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like for the fact that he has money, that you even think this is a viable option this late in the game shows the deterioration of our fabrics of society, right? Folks correlate and why people, and you go to every poll, why people trust Donald Trump so much because they see him as rich.
Yep.
Not that he
Yeah.
knows what he's
Successful
talking about.
businessman.
They
Yep.
see him as a successful business, which he's really like is not depending who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But again, money doesn't correlate to knowledge, doesn't correlate to wisdom, doesn't correlate to relationships. What's up next?
Okay, so AOC and Ilhan Omar played, what's the game called? Among Us, with 400,000 viewers live on Twitch.
Yeah,
What is
that's
this
major.
game? Wait, so these little fuckers turned Mafia into a profitable
That's what
online
they
game?
all did. That's what I was just talking to Daryl about. Y'all took all our music.
All our
Y'all
swag.
took what's my favorite word, and Saweetie just turned it into her thing, and these kids think it's not, Matthew. That's our song.
That's our song.
The fuck. Sorry.
All right, don't hurt your hemorrhoids.
Anyway, I would just like to shout out Ilhan Omar first off because she has been clowning on social media lately, and I'm here for it.
No, give no fuck.
Giving no fucks, and I can't even take it. Fun fact, you guys. So she toured Honduras via my husband. Like, his NGO brought her down. So they've been in contact ever since. So when I gave birth to Nat, she called us and told us congratulations. And she has, like, held and blessed my baby.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
That's dope.
I know.
That's dope.
So yeah, I'm just glad to see her, because I feel like when she first came into office, she was kind of like trying to find her footing. Meanwhile, everybody's hyping up AOC because she just like barking everywhere she go, walking around the Capitol looking for Mitch McConnell. But now she putting up these really shady memes, and Ricky Thompson talking about y'all bitches could never. Like, it's great, big energy.
I think finding her voice. I think it's really her swag, her place in Congress, which is very hard to do. So I've been really enjoying watching that process. I think a dope thing about this though, right? Like having our representatives like stream and like be involved. It's like one, it opens up a door to a segment of our culture and to life that politicians don't participate in, especially federal politicians.
Yep.
I could see someone on a local level doing this, but like having a federal person do this, I think is really dope. Two, I think a major part of being a elected official is like you have to stay current of what's going on, and you have to touch everybody. And like streaming, gaming, like that's an avenue that a lot of politicians don't even attempt. But essentially, if you look at it strategically, like you have the caption and attention of thousands of people for hours.
Young people,
yep. Older people,
Yep.
like a spectrum of people. Hours, right? Like strategically, what can you accomplish there? What policies could you push? What conversations could you have?
Yep.
What donors could you grow? Like I think this is a very smart strategic move, but also like it really puts them in. Again, they're already in an avenue. The squad is in an avenue by themselves, but they keep furthering themselves from the traditional aspect of what an elected official is, which I think is just amazing.
Only place I think you went wrong, Daryl, is gamers or donors now.
Yeah.
Not after buying these $100 games.
No, like if you, that's a good point. But like if you really look at the streams, though, like they could donate. Like people actually donate to streamers. Like during the game,
True.
there are
Very
monthly
true.
donations to streamers. Like people have supporters. Like it's like having your own organization of people just messing with you because essentially they like how you play the game.
Yep.
Like think about what that means if you had a politician who could attach that to a donation, or to if you can't accept the donation, which I don't think there's EU FEC legal requirements right now around that. But if you couldn't accept the donation, right, what that means to be fundraising for organizations in your district.
Yep.
Using those streaming platforms, using those folks who donate $5 to you monthly, like to an organization. So again, I think this is a very cool thing. I think this opens the door. I would like to see more folks genuinely do it.
Yep.
I don't think, especially that community, I don't think you can be ungenuine when you do it. But like, I think folks genuinely do it. And they said 400,000 people watch. Like
500,000 almost.
Yeah.
the top streamers are getting that. Like so I think this is dope.
Claire, I shouldn't because I didn't do any research on this one.
Clarence Thomas set to swear in Barrett at White House.
This evening, probably happening within the next few hours. So folks who don't know, Clarence Thomas is a Supreme Court justice in our Supreme Courts here in the United States.
Didn't he take Thurgood Marshall's seat?
I remember that. I was very young, but I remember he was one of the new additions to our Black History profile. You learn.
Yeah, they slid in.
They slid him in.
Yeah.
I think it was him. Big Carson was also popular back then in the early 90s.
Because we didn't know yet.
Yeah. And then everything happened that came out about Clarence Thomas during his Senate hearings for his confirmation. And he still passed.
Here's the thing about Clarence and Thurgood, right? Like Thurgood, probably one of the best Supreme Court justices we've had. Writing ability off the chain, opinions off the chain. Real big powerhouse and advocate for communities of color. And then we get Clarence Thomas. It just feels like, it feels like it because this is what they did, is they replaced like this really great black man with a conservative black man, right? Because you couldn't not do that.
It's just like the representation at all costs type of things. But I don't even want to say that because we not dumb. The black bloc know what skinfolk is kinfolk. And we clown the hell out of the ones who aren't kinfolk.
Right.
And then we still have the respect to not let white people clown them.
Right.
Like black women, we have a pact. We do not talk about Candace Owen in front of white women. And we hate Candace Owen. But y'all not about to talk about her?
No.
She don't deserve that respect. But we give it to her with her broken edges.
Oh man, I can't speak on that, but I can speak on like also like why I think this is a show of like the future of the Supreme Court is having Clarence Thomas swear in this white woman. Is that folks who don't know when Clarence Thomas was having his Senate confirmations, the biggest thing against him was allegations made by Anita Hill, who usually formerly worked for Clarence Thomas, a black woman. And, you know, they seriously, like, you know, hung her on a cross. Our community as well, right? Like, you know, we having a black man, you know, being sworn into the Supreme Court, and you decide now to bring up these allegations of sexual assault and misconduct during this time, right? And, like, I think, you know, one, it shows the harm that black women have to go through every day, but also I think it shows, like, the mindset of, like, what this man means and stands on, right? Mm-hmm. He's a very conservative, old school individual. Having him swear in Amy Barrett shows like essentially the lineage of which the Supreme Court is heading, right? So very more conservative. It's already there, but like now, and I think it's a very last ditch effort by the Republican Party because of the election and because of the potential and likelihood of Trump losing is to, you know, try to rule the courts, try to rule our Senate.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be 6-3.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of important, issues like being ruled on in the next couple of years.
And the 3 that Trump appointed were all fairly young, like 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh.
Which is also even more, you know, I won't say crazy, because that's a very loose term, but you really don't see that a lot, right? You know, you usually don't have that young of individuals, you know, for younger folks like 40, 50.
How old was Ruth when she was sworn in?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you know, pretty young if you really think about the landscape of things of, you know, coming out of law school, establishing yourself in the local courts, and then heading up to the Supreme Court. Like, seems like you need more time marinating.
As fuck.
That's right. But yeah, I never want to bring up Clarence Thomas without mentioning Anita Hill and the impact it had on our community around that. But also, just here, strategically speaking, again, I think it's just a last-ditch effort from the Republicans. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. They're trying to recover. It be strategic, which I can respect. But I don't see this being a good thing for us as a country moving forward.
What would it have to take, you guys, for reform for the justices' seat terms to happen?
Constitutional change.
Yeah. The next oldest person on the Supreme Court is Stephen Breyer, who was appointed by Clinton. They're 82.
Okay.
So, and then you look at who were the Republicans appointed. Neal, who's 43 now. Kavanaugh, or 53. Kavanaugh's 55.
Is he?
Chief Justice Roberts, 65. And the Republicans appoint people really young. Roberts was 50. Thomas was 43.
43, and you're a
Neal was
Supreme Court
49.
justice.
Brett was 53.
And that's just crazy. Like, Clarence Thomas replaced. We have to double fact check that. But, you know, replacing Thurgood Marshall. Maybe if not by that seat, but, you know, by that presence of having a black representation in the Supreme Court. Like, that's, if not by seat, by that presence, like, it's just, that's so, so sad.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to, I mean, 6-3 is going to happen, like,
nothing will get done.
Right.
That
I mean,
we want to get done.
If Biden wins, like, I think without a doubt, like, he has to retire.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're going to have another Roos situation on our hand. Does, Clarence go, like,
low key
72?
I don't doubt it. And I think that's also when you start off in a problematic situation and you try to end, like, it's always going to end in a problematic situation because although he's 72 and although we're trying to get in a better state of not keeping justices on the court until they're on their deathbed, right? We can't decide to do that when the black man is here. Like, oh no, this is not the time to do that. Yeah. Like, regardless of what his political positions are, like, no, bro.
I know.
There's something about having a lifetime term that people die into that's now a political position, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just like, oh, you're a great judge. It's like, no, it is truly either you're Republican or Democrat. Mm-hmm. And how long you live will determine like who replaces you. That's just odd to me. Like, we should not have lifetime appointments anymore.
It's archaic.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Gladiator. Like, that's the era it belongs in.
Right. I mean, there was a time where it wasn't this hyper political, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And so it made sense, but now it's just like.
And I think my last point in this is like thinking of the bigger scope around this, right? Like, why is this happening? Like for Republicans to be this, I won't say this strategic, right? But at least this forward thinking of saying like, there's a likelihood that we will lose this presidency. We cannot lose power. So we're going to double down on the Supreme Court before he leaves. We're going to double down to make sure we keep the Senate, where they can have the House. And then you could quote me here, like 2022 comes, we're going to see the wave of red like we saw in 2010.
Yep.
I really honestly feel that. Republicans do a very good job of always regrouping, rebuilding the base. I think the more troubling part for me this time is like, in 2010, you had this huge red wave brought to you by the Tea Party, right?
Right.
I don't think it's a Tea Party this time, the conservatives, which they kind of fell off. I think it's the extreme...
The hate groups.
That's going to take us to this next wave. What's next, Cree?
I think we get to talk about one of the most infamous Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
And what's the word? Appendage? What are these?
Phalanges?
Yeah, and toes. But also hands, not just fingers.
Well, an appendage would be like your whole arm, I believe.
Got it. So I don't know what a hand is and then on a finger, but the close-up of this man, yikes. That's not okay.
So we're talking about Mitch McConnell.
Yes.
And if you haven't been paying attention with that as well, Dirty Mitch is... I like that. Huh?
Why mince words,
Yeah, Dirty Mitch is... he's going through something right now. And all jokes aside, it's very clear from his physical appearance that something is not right.
Yeah.
His hands are swollen. They have black and purple marks, are bruised. And he's not being very transparent about that. Of
course he's not. Yeah.
Apparently, he has a condition called senile purpura,
Okay.
which is what happens when you get older, thinning skin, and it's easy to bruise.
Okay.
And basically his skin just naturally has become more fragile as he's gotten older.
How old is he?
He is 78.
Last segment. Take us home, Cree.
Okay, you guys. Somehow, how did they find out Trump's password for Twitter? I don't know the details.
Okay.
But we do know the password. And we were just talking about passwords a little while ago, and Marquise was talking about how he makes some outlandish passwords, like you could never guess them. And that's what you're supposed to do as any civilian, but as the commander-in-chief of this country, you should really throw some weight behind your password.
What was his password?
His password is MAGA 2020 exclamation point.
No
His password for what?
Twitter.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Dog, we swear to God.
Stop it.
I can't.
Swear to God.
MAGA
I don't swear
2020.
to God, but swear to God. This is
What news site is this from?
Town and Country.
Town and Country. It's in the first paragraph of the article.
President of the United States clearly has a thing or two to learn about password security. Last week, Donald Trump's Twitter account was hacked by Dutch researcher Victor Gievers after he correctly guessed the president's password, MAGA 2020.
You know, when you first said this before you told me, I was like, watch his password be like Trump rules, exclamation mark.
At least the T would be capitalized.
It's lower. He tried nothing. He didn't put the @ symbols for the A's.
I know you have cybersecurity, and you really told those people, nah. No.
He said, I got it. I got it.
Password. I'm sticking with this.
Y'all, you guys don't know. Terrible service.
I guess I'm just wondering, like...
This is our president.
This is the man who leads the free world.
His password is MAGA 2020 exclamation point.
I might have took somebody almost 4 years to figure out their password. Like, why didn't we just try this, 5 years ago when he first started running?
Because it was MAGA 2020 no exclamation point, but they asked him to reset his password, and he added the exclamation.
That took it from medium strength to strong.
It didn't go that far enough. It was just a little bit towards. It was all poor the whole time.
No, it went to yellow to orange.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
literally.
Here's a good question then. What do you think Barack's password was?
There's no way we can guess Barack's. I mean, I feel like it's something.
No,
like,
I know what it was. It was
what?
Barack O'Drama. That's
You know what I feel like his password was? You know when you try to make a new account on your Mac and then it says Apple gives you a suggested password.
Yeah.
That's 30 characters that you'll never remember.
Yep.
he had that, and then somebody's job was to literally walk around with him and just always have that password in case he got logged out.
I can see that.
Me too.
I can see that. Because that's a smart man.
Yeah,
And
he's
good for
very
it.
smart.
I do want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to you, everybody who's watching this. You're a voter. You got voters in your life.
Baby, you're my everything.
Make sure you vote. Make sure you get the people in your life to vote.
Wanted.
Make sure you get the people in your life you don't like to vote. Make sure you get that neighbor that gets on your nerves to vote. Last shout out is to moms. I love you. You're beautiful. You're strong. I care about you. Look what you made. You made this. This is all you. Just know that. So, yeah.
I'd like to also shout out Nathaniel Arthur Rogers, my 18-month-old. He, babies move in or people move in the increments, and I felt another shift in him these last few days. A lot more independent play. It's been fun to watch him dive into activities and be lost in them for 30 minutes at a time. That wasn't happening before. And then I'd just like to shout out my husband, Brian Michael Rogers. Because he's just been holding it down.
My shout out goes out to all the unpaid young interns and organizers out there who are doing incredible amount of work on this election.
Period.
Who deserve to be getting paid. We have to move to a place where interns are not just considered free labor, but they're being paid for their time. They're being paid wages. And
do lit interns get paid?
Yes, lit interns do get paid.
Period.
Especially
Big bang.
black and brown
Big bang.
interns who are often taken advantage of because they want opportunity. Just pay your interns.
Pay them.
Pay them. If you got money, you need to pay your people. Free labor is not okay.
Yep.
But shout out to all the people who had to do that this election cycle for unpaid. You're all the real heroes.
Period.
The next time you'll see us, it will be the post-election show. Hopefully the world hasn't burned down.
Hopefully.
Peace, love, deuces.
Bye.
Ashe.